Alright, a gym offers membership for an initial fee of $55. Once someone has membership, they can then take unlimited Pilates classes for a monthly fee of $20. Express this in the form of a mathematical equation and use that equation to find the cost of 6 months of unlimited Pilates. Okay, when I get a problem like this, a word problem like this, I usually try and ask myself, can we think of it, can we posit the question this way: is there one thing that depends on something else? So you ask yourself that question: can I rewrite this in such a way that one thing depends on something else? And I think if you study this problem just for a few minutes, you'll see that the cost of taking the classes depends on the number of months for which you take those classes. Okay? So I would actually just write that down. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct or anything, but the cost of taking classes depends on the number of months for which you take the classes. Okay, so the cost of taking the classes depends on the number of months. So the cost of taking classes depends on something. That means the cost of taking classes is dependent. Okay, so that's the dependent. That's the dependent variable. Okay, that's going to change. And the dependent variable we represent with y. Now the thing it depends on, the number of months, okay, the number of months for which you take classes, that's the independent variable. That's independent. You can choose that to be whatever you want. And we usually represent the independent variable with x. Okay? So the cost of taking classes depends on the number of months. Now we know from a long time ago that the formula for the equation of a line, the most basic formula for the equation of a line, we've used y minus y1 equals m1x minus x1 recently. But when we go back to word problems, very often it's easier to go back to y equals mx plus b. Okay, y equals mx plus b. So what we have to figure out, we know that the y represents the cost of taking classes, x represents the number of months, but the two things that we have to actually replace in here are the m and the b. Now, b is your initial value, okay, the initial value of y. Okay, so y was the cost of taking classes. The initial value of y before you start at all is $55. That's the initial fee. Okay, so the initial fee, your starting point, is $55, and the starting point is always b. Okay, that's always going to be b. M represents the slope when we're talking about a graph, but in the word problem it represents the change. Okay, it represents how much, in this case, the fee changes by. And if we look at the question again, once someone has membership, they can then take unlimited Pilates classes for a monthly fee of $20. So the monthly fee, the change every month is $20. It increases by $20 every month. So the amount that it goes up by every month, change, or the, we'll call it the change, is $20. It goes up by $20 every month. Okay, so that's going to be m. And because it's increasing by $20, okay, the fee is going up by $20 every month, it's going to be positive. M is going to be positive 20. So once we know what y and x represent, and once we have the initial fee, b, and the change every month, the monthly fee, m, we just slip those into the equation, and we end up with y is equal to m is 20x plus b is 55. Okay, so y is equal to 20x plus 55. Now if you want to use different variables, you can slip them in now. Okay, so if you want to use different variables, it'd make more sense in the question, you can change them now. So y is the cost of taking classes, so we could say that c for cost is equal to 20 times x is the number of months. So we could put in m for months, or some people might put in t for time there. But we can put in m for months plus 55. Okay, so that's one nice way to write our equation. And see, the letter doesn't matter. Okay, the letters don't matter. Y equals 20x plus 55 is fine, as long as you write down what y and x represent. Okay, now we were asked to, that was the equation, we were then asked to find the cost of 6 months. Okay, so for 6 months, the cost would be 20 times 6 plus 55. That's 120 plus 55 is $175. Okay, that would give you gym membership and 6 months of Pilates classes for $175. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. The big thing that I want you to get out of this is how to define your variables, how to pick out what is the dependent and what is the independent variable. Remember, independent is always x, dependent is always y. The initial setup, you're then going to go to the equation y equals mx plus b, and the initial setup, the initial fee will be b, so 55 will go in for b. And the monthly change, the way it changes every month, that's your m. Okay, so you get y equals 20x plus 55, and that's your equation. After that, we just tidied it up to make it more specific to this question. We used C for cost and M for the number of months. And once we had that equation, we then could use it to figure out cost for any number of months. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. We're going to do some problems out of your textbook based on this in class. Okay, thanks for watching.